Welcome to the Green Zone Podcast, the show that teaches oil and gas executives how to take command of their finances and live in the green. Your host, Jeff Green, from Green Financial Group, will be your financial guide, all while giving you a tour of the most beloved and best-kept secret spots around Houston, Texas. Now, on to the show.
A new year and a new administration in Washington. What will the arrival of a Biden White House mean for investors? In the Green Zone, Jeff Green and Lauren Smith are assessing the situation. Jeff, let's start with the possibility of a split Congress. Would that be a plus?
Well, I'm all for split government because the less that gets done in Washington, the better off we all are. And when you have a split, and I don't care who's taking the White House. And again, this is not about what side you're on politics. None of that matters to me. What I care about is the effect that Washington will or will not have on the economy and the stock market for my clients. So I will say that I think that the Trump administration did some good things for the economy and therefore the stock market. Decreased regulations, corporate tax cuts, I think were big. Mm-hmm. You had these trade wars, these tariffs. We've got to put China on notice a little bit. Everybody was all scared about that. And look how we are now. I mean, it's fine. And we talked about this in our podcast too, Patrice. I remember a while back with all the China wars and trade wars.
Right.
And I would say, we're not having, this isn't a trade war. It's just a little skirmish. And we got through it, no problem. But back to a split Congress or a
split Congress, yeah.
Split Congress, split government. So I think that, yes, that's the best. Now, we won't know what the deal is with that until, I believe, January 5th, which we talked about when we have those elections in
Georgia.
So we'll see what happens there. I know that both parties are pulling out all the stops to make sure that they win those seats. Those two seats are extraordinary. Who would have thought it came down to Georgia?
Really?
A month or two after the election, for goodness sake. So, if the Republicans take it, then I say that's a good thing, and I mean that because we have a divided government, and that really prevents anything from passing. And Biden has talked about raising corporate tax rates again.
Yes. Even
personal tax rates, right? So, and by the way, just as an aside note, with our clients, we are in historically low tax brackets right now. And we've taken a look at many of our clients. If Roth conversions are right for them, Lauren does a great job on planning for those. But if you're considering a Roth conversion, and I know I'm getting off on a tangent here, I'm going to circle back, but if you're considering a Roth conversion this year, consider going
a little heavier.
Higher. Yeah. And if it's right for you, right? And you get the advice of your tax advisor, your financial advisor. But in a lot of cases, it makes sense to convert more now while we know tax rates are lower versus when they may or may not go higher. Mm-hmm. So that's some free advice from Green Financial Group right there. But if it pertains to you.
Jeff always loved to say the tax codes are written in pencil. So
they're written in pencil.
Know what we know right now. You might as well take advantage of it because you can always assume that they're going to go up and don't know what the future looks like.
True.
Right.
True.
So back to, let's talk about corporate tax rates, right? So so we went from one of the highest corporate tax rates in the world to a more normalized, went from what was it? 35, 40% down to 25% or so. Those numbers aren't going to be exactly right, but that's close. So we had a drastic reduction in corporate tax rates. And when corporate tax rates decrease, profits increase. And so everybody's worried about, well, what happens if they raise corporate tax rates, Jeff? I mean, you say now their profits are going to go down. Yeah, they're going to go down some, not by a lot, but they're going to go down some. And you got to remember, we've been there before, okay? We went through decades of unreasonably high corporate tax rates, and we profited just the same. Our earnings kept growing, stock markets kept going higher. So it's not like this is a death knell by any stretch of the imagination. It's simply something that we have to consider along the way. And that's all.
Now, energy is basically, that's your bailiwick. You're down in Houston.
Yeah.
How are you seeing energy under Biden's green agenda?
Well, I have a friend works in an energy company, and he he doesn't mind the pandemic really all that much. And he says that's fine as long as they're driving cars, I'm happy. And so,
Right.
as long as they're burning gas and they're not locking down, everybody can go drive around, then he's happy. So they're burning fuel. But I don't see this like the AOC's Green New Deal, this radical agenda. I really don't see all of that playing through. Again, especially certainly if we have a split government, then none of that stuff is gonna pass through. We still need energy. We still need fossil fuels. It's not going to change overnight. I've seen solar go up and down over the years, and it's always reverted back to the same fossil fuels and energy, that we've been using for decades.
All right. You mentioned COVID. What do you see for healthcare?
Healthcare, we follow healthcare great. It's one of the many sectors that we follow, but healthcare is kind of, in terms of stock market performance, has really kind of faltered a little bit. And yes, I know that we have a vaccine out. I know that we've seen, Moderna and whoever else, some of their stock prices go crazy, and that's company specific. But again, I remember when Trump and Hillary were running, and healthcare got scared if Hillary was going to get elected because it was going to affect the healthcare industry in a big way. And you're seeing some of that right now. Again, it's a lot's hinging on January 5th in Georgia as to whether or not some of these policies are going to go through and who's going to get hit and who's not going to get hit. So we're still kind of in a wait and see mode with some of this, but time will tell.
All right, then how about ESG investing? Environmental, social governance. Do you see that getting a boost under Biden?
Yeah, corporate governance. Yes. So, so that's like the politically correct stocks, right? And certainly when you see Biden come in, when you see the left come in, those kinds of companies are going to get a boost. And just because the general policy making is going to benefit in that direction. I mean, look at what happened with the work from home stocks. I mean, Zoom.
Zoom is out of control.
Zoom. What are some of the other ones?
DocuSign.
DocuSign.
Doing well.
I mean, some of these companies have just, gone crazy. I remember early on, way back in March when the pandemic hit, March, April, companies like Winnebago were going up.
That's right. Yeah.
Malibu boats.
Yep.
Were
There
going
was
up.
camping, World of Camping. That one was going through the roof also.
What was that gym one?
Oh, Planet Fitness.
Planet Fitness. They figured out ways. Planet Fitness figured out ways to make you work out from home. They were one of the first ones to do it, and then everyone kind of caught on and began the Zoom workits from home.
Yeah,
So
Peloton,
yes.
So all these companies went kind of crazy. So it was time specific, economic specific, right? And so it's the same way with the ESG. It's kind of government specific. So it's the same. So it's that same concept. You would tend to think that yes. Now, while the pandemic stocks, the work from home stock, that's kind of an extreme example. But yes, you tend to think when the left takes power, these types of stocks would tend to get a boost.
All right, you mentioned a couple of tech stocks like Zoom, even Peloton. I guess you could consider almost a tech stock these days. Do you see a greater move to break up the bigger tech companies?
Well, that's a great question. Certainly, they're under a lot of pressure right now, and it's every other day I'm seeing some tech giant getting grilled on Capitol Hill. So something's coming. I don't know what. We'll see what happens there. They tend to, I don't know if pushing agenda is the right term, but they shape things. I don't know if they're allowing free speech 100%. What do you think, Lauren?
I don't know. It's such a tough
they have these. I remember when Patrice, you don't remember Ma Bell, right? When they broke up Ma
Oh,
Bell
yeah,
because they
yeah.
thought, right? So it's not that to that extreme, but it's kind of like that, If Facebook's the only medium we have out there to be on a social media platform, then that's the dominant thing, and then that rules what we do. And fortunately, it's not. I mean, there's other things, right? There's Instagram and
LinkedIn, if you can call it social
yeah,
media.
TikTok.
TikTok, yeah, that's a
You
good
think I
one.
knew that one?
Jeff
did you?
loves TikTok.
I do my dances on TikTok. So that again, that's a great question, Patrice, and I think that you're seeing something coming that way. I don't know what's going to happen. I have no idea, but it looks like something's going to happen with these guys.
Do you see some bipartisanship showing up in Washington? I mean, to me, it seems it's got to show up. But do you see it happening?
I hope so. I feel like when Trump was in office, everyone was just out to get him, and he spent 4 years under attack, and part of it was his own doing, and but part of it was just people not liking him and attacking him. And I thought he did an amazing job for being under attack like he was. And now you're seeing Biden come in, and I don't see the attacks the way they were coming at him.
Yeah,
I don't see it. So I hope that we can come to some sort of civility in Washington, and work together for the good of the country and not for the good of a party or a person or an agenda. We are the United States of America, and it's bigger than all of us, and it's bigger than anybody in Washington. We elect these leaders to go do a job, and that's do the best thing you can for our country. And it dismays me when I see the bickering and the one-sidedness of everything. So I'm hopeful that we will see some bipartisanship. We'll see some, people working together from across the aisle, and get some good things done.
All right. I will say a little piece here myself. I think the smart people aren't going into politics anymore.
I couldn't agree more, Patrice.
Yeah.
I mean, who would want to?
Who would want to
Exactly,
be a target
exactly.
like that?
Who would want to do it? And I'm surprised, Trump did it. What did he need to go into politics for? I mean, I think he's got an ego.
Yeah, I mean, total ego boost.
Okay, yeah, we can go with that. But he certainly didn't need it.
No,
No,
he was doing
did
just
not.
fine.
He's doing okay.
And he'll be just fine afterwards.
Yeah, he'll be okay afterwards.
Now the smart people are going into business because they know that's the place to make the money and to make an impression.
Like Lauren. I mean, like I
There you
said,
go.
smartest person I know. So she's in business, not politics. She has too many skeletons anyway. I know a few of them. So.
Oh, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's why
I doubt
she's-
you.
That's
No.
what she's not running.
Oh, you'd go down.
Oh, whatever.
All right, as we wrap this up, is there anything else you see coming up with the new administration that really stands out to you?
Well, I will say this, and again, my business is not politics. My business is economies and markets and planning for my clients. And I will say this: I think, in my opinion, 2021 is going to be a very good year for us economically, for us in the market. There's really not much standing in our way. If we have a gridlocked government, even better. But if we don't, that's okay. There's not a whole lot that can be done in 21. So 21, and I'm talking about tax hikes and all this other stuff. Not a lot of that can get done retroactively for 21. So I think 21 is going to be a very good year. That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
I like it. We need a good year.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think it's going to be. I think the vaccine's going to come out. Hopefully we don't have to wear masks for much longer, but who knows?
We'll see.
Either way, economically speaking, going to be good.
I did read an analyst who said he thought that the beginning of the Biden administration would be as good as the beginning of the first term for President Nixon. Because you've got the pent-up demand, you've got the vaccine that's coming, people will suddenly be able to get out there, hopefully. And he was seeing, as you just said, a really great year.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
All right. Well, how can listeners reach you if they want to share their thoughts on this?
Yeah, absolutely. Please do. www.greenfinancialgrp.com or call us at 713-244-3030.
Or follow us on social media. Green Financial Group on Facebook, Jeff Green and Lauren Smith on LinkedIn.
And Jeff Green and Lauren Smith of the Green Financial Group, thank you. For an alert to a new episode of The Green Zone, subscribe to the podcast using the subscribe button on this page. You can also share with friends and colleagues with the share button. I'm Patrice Sikora, and let's talk again later.
Thank you for listening to the Green Zone podcast. Click the subscribe button below to be notified when new episodes become available. The information covered and posted represents the views and opinions of the guest and does not necessarily represent the views and opinions of Green Financial Group. The content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional investing advice. Always seek the advice of your financial advisor or other qualified financial service provider with any questions you may have regarding your investment planning. Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Raymond James Financial Services Advisors, Inc. Green Financial Group is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services. Jeff Green is the founder of Green Financial Group and is a registered principal of RJFS. The Green Financial Group is located at 6363 Woodway Drive, Suite 625, Houston, Texas 77057, and can be reached at 713-244-3030. Raymond James is not affiliated with and does not endorse the opinions or services of his guests.